obviously communicating at this session. A year ago, many people in this audience, in this room, or in the audience of all of our partners, were facing the toughest time of their life, and definitely their customers were within that. And yet our message at that time was very crisp. It was basically saying, well, many of our customers and our peers view this as their greatest challenge of all their times, and all as wish we could have avoided it. This will be probably the greatest opportunity we'll ever have together in terms of positioning our organizations for the future. And we literally at that time turned, if you're using old world fashion, turned our aircraft carrier into the wind, and we launched across the board at this time last year. Or a term I would prefer, think of it as a spaceship, and turned into the opportunities in front of us across the galaxy and went very aggressive everywhere. It wasn't an issue, however, of a one-year transition. It's something we prepared for 10 years. We prepared for it following 2001, what would be the new business architectures for the future, what would be the new technology architectures, how would consumer, through service provider, through enterprise, to the commercial marketplace all tie together, any content, any device, and the network having the intelligence throughout. And almost all these transitions that we had outlined, be they technology, business, or productivity, have actually come true. And so we're positioned now stronger than we ever have, and we're moving on many fronts. We're approaching it as a technology architecture, where as you'll see today in the demos, etc., it isn't about individual standalone products. It's how all these integrate together with tremendous speed. They can only be accomplished by a different organization structure. And we move from a command and control, very static organization structure, through a matrix, which is also static, to what I would call a dynamic network organization structure for the future. And we use the same terminology in terms of positioning. We use Jeffrey Moore's crossing the chasm to communicate within our own group and with our partners. Phase 1, innovation. Phase 2, early adopters. Phase 3, when you cross the chasm, you start to really accelerate, come on the Main Street, etc. And we use common technology in terms of how do you implement this. But our projections in terms of what can happen productivity-wise, new business models are happening. And you're seeing our customers to a very, very large extent. When I asked them, are you more committed to us than a year ago on the technology? Over 75 to 80% of the rooms, as I do that, raise their hand and say we've improved in the last year. The rest say it's about the same, and a very small minority say not as good. And the same thing's true on the business architecture. How do we run our business together? How do we focus on their growth, their profitability, their training? Partners are in our DNA. It is what we've been. The first thing I did when I came to Cisco was change it from a direct organization 20 years ago to an indirect part of that organization. Day 1 was clearly about accelerating and building off of what we said last year. What programs do you need? Day 2 was innovation, and I don't know your all's view, but I've never been more proud. It's really exciting when you see a plan really come together and work. And this has been a decade in the making. And then day 3, our job today is transformational and really get people excited about the future, but also show how we go there together. Padma, maybe just a couple initial comments on cloud and some of the things I've asked you to take on.
Sure. As John mentioned, I think one of the key focus areas for us at Cisco is to combine innovation with operational excellence. I think as a company, we really believe in blending the two. So as we look at major disruptions or architectural shifts that are going on in the industry, such as cloud, we take a very pragmatic approach on how to evolve it in this phased fashion. So phase 1 for us is to engage where there is traction. We are seeing a lot of movement in the service provider space, and we are working with them closely to enable them to deliver infrastructure as a service and some applications as a service. Along with that, in the enterprise segment, we are seeing interest in building internal clouds or private clouds. So from a cloud point of view, we are taking a phased approach and working with our customer segments. And by the way, that changes also on a global basis. It's kind of different in emerging markets compared to developed markets, and small businesses have a different need. And our approach with the strategy is to make sure we are targeting the strategies for the customer segment base. And within the enterprise too, financial sector is going to be very different from some of the other retail and media sectors. So making sure that we don't just have one answer to all of these, right? Because cloud is a journey that's going to take about 10 years to evolve. So that's one example of how we are innovating and combining operational excellence. Some of the other major areas, as you saw on day 2, for us, we believe there are going to be 4 pillars for the evolution of the next internet, or the evolution of the internet way to very high resolution, complex video systems like multi-point telepresence, right? So video is going to be a killer app across the board. Along with that, collaboration, of which video is a key element in the architecture. Collaboration meaning how do you enable people and processes to cross boundaries, across the firewall and across boundaries of the organization. So we're working on building truly an enterprise class collaboration platform that brings social networking concepts into the enterprise and combines that with how you find experts and how you connect them together. Third, actually, which is a kind of how these two will be delivered, is virtualization. Virtualization being the underpinning leading to cloud. If you think about video and collaboration, both of these solutions by definition will be delivered on premises and from the cloud. And so you kind of need virtualization to enable both of those to happen. Last one's interesting. It's actually an increased focus on how do you apply IT into sustainability with smart cities, smart connected communities, where public sector actually is looking at transformation in how citizen services get delivered. We showed in the demo some of the things we are doing at places like Songdo. And it's not just, by the way, greenfield cities, it's actually brownfield cities. We're working also with Barcelona, for example, where it's
brown means?
Brown means existing cities, older cities that have the infrastructure that want to move into the next century. So those are some areas that we're focusing on.
So with that, let's take the conversation wherever you'd like to go on any topic except this quarter's finances. Anything we say today should not be interpreted directly or indirectly to comment on the quarter. If we look like we're in great spirits, it's because we're here with customers that we love. If we look tired, it's purely because we're working very hard while we're here. So other than that, anything's fair game.
Thanks, John. Chad Brunson from Sierra, and thank you very much for taking the time today.
Yes,
last year's partner conference, we heard quite a bit from Cisco's top executives, including yourself, about the competition with HP. This year, it's been significantly tamped down. Why is that?
Well, I think when we talked about competition last year, we established, as we always have, that competition is, to us, about market transitions. And we've never focused on a competitor. We focus purely on competitors, on how you keep score. And as you enter new markets, you want to understand what are the key transformations going on. So when you look at where we're going, and last year we outlined at that time a technology architecture end-to-end, which we didn't start working on a year before, we started 15 years ago. And you begin to see the pieces fall into place, with each one being number one, almost without exception in market share. You're now looking at probably our innovation engine hasn't moved faster than it has in the last year, and we have new products in almost every category. And most people would say we have the best and the market leader in core routing, 1 billion videos, CRS3, which really launched the next generation internet, in my opinion. Edge routing, which between the ASR 5,000, 9,000 capability, is really leaders on that, both fixed and mobile. The access point, we brought out already 2 generations of IGS. You brought out one that replaced our prior product, and then brought out something that was 3 times the performance, and 6 months later, we did the complete transformation of the switching line. The architectures are playing. I think there's interest when you enter new markets, and there's a natural about who's going to be your challengers there, just like as we enter the consumer market. There are a lot of questions currently this year about who your consumer competitors, etc. What we focus on is market transitions. If we're right on the technology market transition and the business architecture transition, and remember on the business side, it would shock you how many governments and business leaders now use Cisco as the most trusted advisor. And how many of our customers, when I poll them, for example, even at the technical level, if I were to ask the top accountants in the world, what I just did a month ago, how many of you view that we've dramatically improved our relationship? Already a very good one. In fact, probably #1 customer sat across the whole IT industry. Very effectively in the last year on technology, almost 85% of the room would say yes out of our top 30. And only 15 would say it's about the same level. I asked on the business architecture at that time, and I would have been ecstatic if 25% of the quote technical people said we've improved our business together architecturally. It was 80% of the room. You see that at government leaders, you see it at business leaders. So as we enter each market, I think there's an interest by the press on what does this mean. Remember,